Thank you very much for attending EuCNC. It's not very often that you see people from regulators attending, let's call it scientific conferences. I'm teasing you now, sorry for this. Ofcom is obviously a regulator that is well known in Europe. So again, coming from a regulator, what are your views on the impact of regulation and so on these old discussions of technology development from 5G, even 6G now these days?
Well, it's a very good question, and I'm delighted to be here in Valencia, and I think it's fantastic to see the research that's going on the future of 5G networks and connectivity as a whole. And I am actually, I would say, quite surprised and disappointed to see that there, as far as I can see, there's no other regulator here today. And I'm actually very surprised because I think to effectively regulate the telecoms and media industries in the future, we need to be at the forefront of technology, and that's part of my role as CTO in Ofcom. So I would expect us to be much more engaged in the future. There's many ways that regulation can support the future of the industry, make sure it's best adapted to what consumers and citizens need. We're doing some of that. There's some things coming that are going to change the way we regulate. For example, spectrum obviously is a key part of what we do, making sure the spectrum is there for everybody, not just for operators. Operators are very important, but also for citizens, for industry, for third parties. And what that might mean in the future is that we might have many more service providers, which would be great, I think, for everybody, as long as it's a competitive marketplace and with high quality. But then how do we regulate for a world where you have many, maybe hundreds of service providers, in each country, rather than a handful today? That poses some big problems in terms of how we actually regulate that market, which I think we need to look at early. So I think the convergence of industries across media, across telecoms, across internet, plus the increased security and resiliency that we need to make sure that people can trust those networks is absolutely key to what we do. So my expectation is that regulators should be involved right at the forefront of when these ideas are being developed and contributing constructively to that research area.
And then with the additional challenge with the verticals, that regulation will not be exclusively in telecoms, right? Because
Absolutely.
then you have to cross with regulation in health, regulation in transport, regulation in supermarkets, regulation in whatever you are addressing these days.
Yeah, I mean, the approach we take in the UK is that we regulate where necessary, and if the market is healthy and it's competitive, then there's no reason for us to be in the way. So we take that approach across all the industries. Now, you're right that connectivity as a whole is going to underpin many other industries as we go forward. This is what people are calling digital transformation. So we need to find a proper way to understand where the regulation can be helpful and when it gets in the way, and where it's actually in the benefit of citizens and consumers. So that's what we'll do. In our view, the more choice you have, the better. It's a choice in terms of suppliers, choice in terms of equipment, connectivity is the same. So what we'd like in the future is that citizens or companies in whatever sector can choose to build their own connectivity, work with a third party or work with an operator, and we think that's a great choice to have.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.